Hello, San Francisco, and welcome once again to the Angelic Troublemakers. I'm your host, Alan Jones, and on today's program, are we political and social poltroons? Have you heard of the word poltroon before? Let me tell you how I came up upon that word. When I was 16 years old, I was watching cartoons. Porky Pig, and I think it was Sylvester Cat. And they were in a haunted house. And Porky Pig called Sylvester Cat a poltroon. And at 16, I didn't know what the word meant. So after my little cartoon session, I went and looked it up and discovered that it was a 100% coward, a thorough coward. And I lie not. When I found the definition of that word at the age of 16, it's not a word that many people use today. They just use coward. But when I discovered it at age 16, I had purposed in my heart I would not be a coward. And hey, I don't think I've disappointed myself in that area. Other areas, very disappointed in Alan. But the fact of the matter is I'm sure I'll be tested more and more before I leave this earth, but poltroon is not on the list. So why am I coming up with this topic today? Well, I've been reading in the last week the last couple of weeks, about the progress in or lack of progress in the free agent market for former 49er quarterback Colin Kaepernick. And people were coming up with various reasons of why he wasn't signed on to another team. A former college teammate of Colin Kaepernick, Brandon Marshall of the Denver Broncos. There is a Brandon Marshall who plays for the Giants, wide receiver, but this is an inside linebacker for the Denver Broncos, who played with Kaepernick in his college days. He referred to Kaepernick as the best free agent quarterback on the market. And I myself, though I have said on this program, I will not watch an NFL game while Colin Kaepernick is not signed with any team. But the situation has really gotten me because I hear other NFL players, other than Brandon Marshall, namely Sherman, for the Seattle Seahawks, him say that he believes that Colin Kaepernick is being blackballed by the NFL. Now, the fact of the matter is 70% of the NFL is black. And I don't think that Brandon Marshall or even this Sherman, and I'm drawing a blank on his name, are the only ones who see or view or have opinions that Colin Kaepernick is not being treated right. Where I say that we are social and political, or I'm saying Are we, I'm asking a question, are we social and political poltroons? Is because I've seen where people get up, protest, do this and do that for certain things. Sure, when somebody, pardon me, is shot and killed unjustly, some people run out into the street to protest. Even before some of the facts are in, people are running out on the streets and protesting. And they're all united, mainly black people disturbed by the fact that another black man has died. And quite frankly, it's too old for me. However, for we to be so energetic when somebody gets unjustly, in our opinion, gunned down at the hands of law enforcement, and we can't use that same energy to stand in support of someone who is basically put his career on the line for young blacks. And I'm saying that, sure, it's young minorities, young black, but Colin Kaepernick, he does not deserve the treatment that he is getting. And I just honestly believe that there's either not enough people really paying attention to what Colin Kaepernick sacrificed and how we should stand up more so now than when we did and doing all of the kneeling. Think of it this way. When Colin Kaepernick kneeled and he had other NFL players kneeling in solidarity, college students, high school students, other sports, soccer, basketball players making statements, all of these people supported him. Well, where are these people now that he can't get a job? I'm saying that the same people who were also eager to stand up when someone took the lead, that someone is now being persecuted, and where is the support for him? This is not right. This is beyond cowardice. And I don't know what motivates most people, but there's no way in the world that I could be convinced that America activists who are dedicated to the issue of young black lives, I cannot be convinced that these people are in a situation where, we just have nothing to do. We don't know what to do. We did all we can do. I can't be convinced of that. We should imagine how the NFL would respond if they got more flack from Colin Kaepernick's supporters saying, we don't like the way you're treating Colin Kaepernick, than all of the country who said, we don't like what Colin Kaepernick's doing. I just don't believe that if we really wanted to stand up in support of Colin Kaepernick, I don't think that it would be ignored. So why aren't we doing it? Poltroons. thorough cowards. It's easy to stand up when someone else makes a stand first, bold and courageous. But when that person is knocked down, people just scatter. Well, this is unacceptable. And it's unacceptable as a human being, and it's unacceptable to me. I mean, not that I'm anybody, as a black man in particular. Because I'd hate to think that the only thing that black people know how to do is protest and cause a fuss when the obvious unjust police shootings are the issue. We have many things that are on our plate. And I understand how there's an awful lot of people who can justly say, well, hey, I'm struggling too. Why would I want to support this millionaire quarterback? It's bigger than that. Colin Kaepernick was doing the right thing, and he continues to do the right thing. He continues to do it joyfully. You know, I saw where Colin Kaepernick this past week donated some of his custom-made suits to not just the Goodwill or Salvation Army. He went down to the parole office in New York City and donated some of his very nice, probably a lot of them probably only wore once. You know how some of these athletes are so sports fashion conscious. He donated these clothing that he had custom made for him. He donated them to a group in the parole office or whatever in New York that, you know, helps ex-cons look better when they're going on job interviews. Well, can you imagine if more of these professional athletes who have gobs and gobs and gobs of clothes that they can't wear in a lifetime would donate them to some individuals who are trying to just get on their feet? Well, all of the things that Colin Kaepernick has done, and for him to be treated the way he is, and everybody is, oh, look how bad they're treating Colin Kaepernick. Oh, look how bad. But they're not saying anything to say, we're not going to put up with this. The only thing that I can do is run my mouth on a television station and refuse to watch an NFL game. Now, I understand how difficult that is for some people because they ain't even got a life. They have to sit down on Sunday afternoon and watch a football game or whatever sporting event. Well, I like football, baseball, basketball, and I've been known to peek at hockey. I'm a sports fan. And all of the different sports that I like, hey, I had to check off my top sport, NFL. I can't do it. I've said on this program last week, and I've been saying it for quite some time, I refuse to sit in front of a TV and root for any football team when I know that the owners of those teams have basically showed their racism card. The issue is there is no justification legitimate for why Colin Kaepernick is not employed. Now, I have to divert just a little bit to one individual by the name of Adam Pac-Man Jones. He plays in the NFL, and he's bounced a couple of times, different teams. But in January, he was arrested. And he was arrested, disorderly conduct. I don't know. He did a few things. I don't know. So when he was in the police cruiser being taken to the station, and of course he was intoxicated, you could hear him talking to the police officer. And the way he was talking to him, me as a black man, I was embarrassed. And his language, which included suck my to the police officer. And then the nerve of the owner of the team he plays for, Baltimore, I don't know what team he's on now. He said, well, I'm standing behind Adam Pac-Man Jones. Well, I don't get it. How is it that this owner is going to stand by a man who berated law enforcement the way he did, but be so sanctimonious when it comes to a person like Colin Kaepernick? He is in the boat with the rest of the owners who refuse to say anything positive about Colin Kaepernick. This is not good. This is not good, and this is un-American. And I'm saying that for the hypocrisy of, hey, he's not my player. And then your own player do worse. And I'm standing in support of him. He's a fine young man. Sure, did Adam Pac-Man Jones apologize for his conduct and promise to be a better human being? Yes. And I believe that he'll try. After looking at, if he saw the same video I saw, of course, I believe he will try. Because that was super embarrassing. And when I say Adam Pac-Man Jones, do understand there is a Adam Jones who plays professional baseball. And last week, he was treated rudely by the people of Boston. But that's another subject. But though there are the two different Adam Jones who play professional sports, my gripe is the fact that not only was Pac-Man out of line, and hey, I take him at his word that he was sorry. He did apologize to the police department of wherever it was that this happened. But the fact that this player continues to get the support of the owner when the owner is no less than the rest, or no better than the rest, when it comes to how the NFL collectively have treated Colin Kaepernick. And when I say collectively, I'm more upset with the black players than the white owners in this issue with Colin Kaepernick, because it is my personal opinion that the Players Association, if they were to pen a letter and have as many of the black players sign the letter and say, we see what you're doing to this man who stood up for a human rights issue and how you're treating him. We don't like it. Do something about it or we will. And I'm saying that this is my language. Of course, you want to be more diplomatic. But the fact of the matter is NFL players who are given the opportunity that I say is a God-given to play the beautiful, violent, though beautiful sport of football, professional sports, and all of them who have sacrificed much to be in this position. I'm saying we need to really rethink, is it really a blessing of God that you would come in to the NFL and then forget, in many cases, you too could have easily been that unarmed black person who was gunned down by law enforcement. There's a lot of people who know exactly where I'm coming from. And I'm saying that they need to step up because this ain't right. And I'm saying that I think that it can be better if black people would just get a backbone and let the NFL know, wait a minute, you sure are getting an awful lot of joy and profit off of our athleticism. But now when one of us decides to get political, you treat him like he has leprosy. This is not right. Because think of it this way. They treated Colin Kaepernick this way for speaking up. Does that mean that you are going to, Mr. NFL player, Mr. NFL black player, are you going to be next? Well, you might as well be next if you're going to sit back and watch what happens to Colin Kaepernick. And I don't know whether he'll ever play again in the NFL. And he ain't getting any younger, just like myself. And the fact that it does seem like the NFL is trying to play it, well, let's just don't bring up the subject. Let everybody else bring up the subject. And this will blow over. And then we'll have Colin Kaepernick way beyond his ability to play. And then we will have had the last laugh. That's what happened with Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, when he went out, hey, he was still hitting home runs. But they said, we don't want to touch this black man because we think he cheated. I don't get it. You know, you get all holy when you see somebody else did it. But in Barry Bonds' case, baseball had been cheating black men out of baseball, just the chance to play it, for 50 years before Jackie Robinson. And so for them to get all holy when Barry Bonds did something wrong, well, a similar thing is happening to Colin Kaepernick. And I'm saying that we need to stand up and support Colin Kaepernick. Support him in any way we can. But we should not take this situation and run to the TV when football season begins. Now, it's going to be tough because I know exactly how it is for me. But there's something much more important at stake. There was a recent shooting, and it was a 15-year-old boy. And this 15-year-old boy was at a party in Texas, and he was shot and killed by this black 15-year-old boy, was shot and killed by a white police officer. Well, the police report was he was backing up and he was threatening to the officers. Well, the police chief in this Texas suburb boldly said, yeah, he was backing up and threatening our officers. We had to shoot. Well, why didn't this police chief look at the video of the camera that was on the officer's lapel? The body camera showed the exact opposite. And so the police chief, well, I misspoke. No, you didn't. What had happened was he took his officer's word as gospel to another shooting. And then he looked at the tape. And the tape's undeniable. The young man was a passenger in a car going in the opposite direction, and at no time was it coming backwards. And now this 15-year-old is dead. Now, does black people, I mean, we're not stupid. And quite frankly, I'm annoyed at the fact that a lot of the times that black people have been able to become millionaires lately is because of the lawsuits that have been filed. You know, people be saying, oh, I'm going to get paid now, because they see clearly a lawsuit where somebody just wasn't doing the right thing. Well, I don't think that that's right. And I'm saying that we should not be looking at these situations as a way to enrich ourselves. We need to look at these things as a way of prevention. And I think that we're way beyond the time that we need to be to set the record straight. And the record is we can't put up with this any longer, where black people are being treated so unjustly, but only when a shot is fired we stand up. No, we can stand up now. Don't stand up for the next Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, and the others. Stand up for Colin Kaepernick and see exactly how far we go. I guarantee you there will be a change. Until next time, God bless.